Welcome, please hit the subscribe button. Listen up, guys, because what I'm about to share with you today could completely transform how you interact with women and help you develop genuine confidence and self-respect. Welcome back to our channel. Please hit the subscription button to support us reach our target. I'm going to break down two critical areas where many men unknowingly give away their personal power, and more importantly, how you can reclaim it starting right now. Before we dive in, I want to be clear about something. This isn't about disrespecting women or playing games. This is about becoming a better version of yourself, developing genuine confidence, and creating healthy relationship dynamics based on mutual respect and attraction. So what exactly do I mean by taking your power back? I'm talking about that inner confidence and self-control that makes you magnetic to others while staying true to your values and goals. It's about being the kind of man who doesn't compromise his principles or chase validation from others. The first area where men lose their power is through lack of sexual self-control. Now, I know this might sound controversial, but hear me out. Throughout history, we've seen countless examples of powerful men who lost everything because they couldn't control their impulses. Politicians, celebrities, business leaders, they had status, wealth, and influence, but one moment of weakness cost them their reputation, their relationships, and sometimes their entire career. Here's the thing about sexual desire. It's completely natural and healthy, but when it controls you instead of the other way around, it becomes your weakness. When you're constantly thinking about intimacy or making it your top priority, you send signals that others can pick up on. People can sense desperation, and that desperation often gets exploited. Think about it this way. When you're overly focused on physical intimacy, you might find yourself making decisions that aren't in your best interest. Maybe you're spending money you don't have trying to impress someone. Maybe you're ignoring red flags because you're thinking with the wrong head. Maybe you're compromising your values or goals because you think it'll increase your chances. The key is shifting your mindset from need to want. You don't need intimacy to survive, you want it because it's enjoyable. That's a huge difference. Need implies you can't live without something, which puts you in a desperate position. Want means you'd enjoy having it, but you're perfectly fine without it. This shift in thinking completely changes your energy and how others perceive you. When you have this kind of self-control, something interesting happens. You become more attractive because you're not needy. You make better decisions because you're thinking clearly. You have more time and energy to focus on the things that actually matter in your life: your career, your health, your personal growth, your relationships with family and friends. Now, the second area where men give away their power is through chasing. And I'm not just talking about chasing women romantically, I'm talking about chasing anyone who's clearly not interested in what you're offering.
Let me paint a picture for you.
You see someone you're interested in, and you approach them. That's perfectly normal and healthy. But then they give you clear signals that they're not interested. Maybe they're giving short responses, avoiding eye contact, finding excuses to leave conversations, or just straight up telling you they're not interested. Here's where many men make a critical mistake. Instead of respecting that signal and moving on, they double down. They think persistence will win the day. They convince themselves that this person just needs to get to know them better, or that they're playing hard to get. But here's the reality. When someone is running away from you, literally or figuratively, chasing them is the worst possible strategy. Think about it from their perspective. If you keep pursuing someone who's already indicated they're not interested, what message does that send? It suggests you don't respect their boundaries or their autonomy. Plus, chasing has several negative consequences for you personally.
First, you develop tunnel vision.
You become so focused on this one person who doesn't want you that you miss opportunities with people who actually might be interested. You're so busy looking in one direction that you don't see what's right in front of you. Second, you lose objectivity. When you're fixated on someone, especially if they're physically attractive, you start projecting qualities onto them that they might not actually possess. You assume they're kind, intelligent, or compatible with you based on limited information. You're essentially falling in love with a fantasy version of this person rather than who they actually are. Third, you stop chasing what actually matters. Instead of pursuing someone who's clearly not interested, imagine if you put that same energy into your personal development, your career, your fitness, your hobbies, or your existing relationships. The irony is that focusing on these areas makes you more attractive to everyone, including potentially the person you were originally interested in. Fourth, when you finally do enter a relationship after all that chasing, you've already set a problematic dynamic. You've trained the other person to expect you to do all the work, to always be the one pursuing, to always be the one making effort. That's not a healthy foundation for any relationship.
So what is the alternative?
It's simple but not always easy. You approach people you're interested in with confidence and authenticity. If they're receptive, great. If they're not, you respect that and move on. You don't take it personally because you understand that compatibility isn't just about you being a good person. It's about mutual chemistry, timing, life circumstances, and a million other factors you can't control. When you stop chasing and start focusing on yourself, several amazing things happen. You become more interesting because you have your own life and goals. You become more confident because your self-worth isn't dependent on one person's validation. You become more attractive because confidence and self-respect are magnetic qualities. You also open yourself up to meeting people who are actually excited to know you. Instead of trying to convince someone to like you, you get to experience what it feels like when someone appreciates you for who you are right now. Here's something that might blow your mind. When you stop chasing and start living your best life, often the people you thought were uninterested start noticing you. There's something incredibly attractive about someone who's focused on their own growth and happiness rather than seeking validation from others. This doesn't mean you become passive or antisocial. It means you approach relationships from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. You're looking for someone who adds to your already fulfilling life, rather than someone to complete you or validate your worth. The bottom line is this: real power comes from self-control and self-respect. It comes from knowing your worth and not compromising it for temporary pleasure or validation. It comes from being selective about where you invest your time and energy. When you master these two areas, sexual self-control and not chasing, you'll notice a dramatic shift in how you feel about yourself and how others respond to you. You'll have more time and energy for the things that actually matter. You'll make better decisions because you're thinking clearly. You'll attract higher quality relationships because you're operating from a place of strength rather than neediness. Remember, this isn't about becoming cold or indifferent. It's about becoming confident and secure. It's about being the kind of person who others want to be around because you bring positive energy and genuine value to their lives. Start implementing these principles today, and watch how your entire life begins to transform.